let's go back to the drawing board here. So here's our drawing board again. So looking at, I haven't even updated our deck at all. We're like, what, 6-2? 6-2 with Gumbo. Like, it's honestly still just probably the aggro deck, but we have been adding cards that allow us to, like, compete in that space. But if they can close before we can, like, the yellow-purple deck can just straight kill you before you even get to turn 6 or 7 to be playing the Pabbies or the Be Prepareds. Like, that deck is always scary, because they have the reach, they have, like, the other pieces. I just noticed there's a hole in the bottom of this bottle. It's been leaking all over my desk. So I guess we just have to drink it all. Problem solved, I suppose. It's kind of fucked. What are you gonna do? It's just water. Who cares? Okay. Yeah, I would say that the weakness is probably the really aggressive aggro decks. You kind of want the Gothel because it works with the Pabbie combo, and it is much better against a lot of the aggro with, say, the Gumbo Pots and the Pawpsicle. Like, there's a world where you can have the Pawpsicle and the Gumbo Pot, and then you just have a 3-4, which a 3-4 is a much better card than just a random 2-2. But there is a world where the Queen of Hearts is better. It's just the break point of having 3 power, I think, is so important. And this card combos with the Pabbie. So it sort of plays a little bit of double duty. And especially because we have the Gumbos, it makes the healing on the Mother Gothel feel a little bit better. I wonder if we look at something like the Stylish Surfers, though, so that we just have a better way of pushing lore. I'm just trying to think of where we would put them. Somewhere, maybe. Maybe we shave on the Judy Hopps a little bit more. Yeah, this list is full Pabbie combo. We're on, like, the Gastons to shift and try to get lore faster. We're playing more early creatures. Like, we're playing Winnie the Pooh instead of the item, so that we can, like the Quill, just so that we can be pushing lore while we're doing effects like that rather than not. Let's do this. Let's add some Surfers. We cut down on the Nick Wilds a little bit because they're a tiny bit clunky. Obviously, they're good with the Flaversham stuff, but they are a little clunky. And then I think we maybe cut the Shield of Virtue because we haven't really drawn it and we haven't really felt like we needed it. Okay, let's do budget. And this is just like a combo deck. What do we think about this list? What does this look like? Like 3 Stylish Surfers? Could even go to all 4 Stylish Surfers. And I kind of don't hate it, but 3 is probably fine. Our 3-drop slot is a little better now. Our 4-drop slot is a lot better. And then our, like, late game stuff is not too bad. Kind of like this. Let's try this. Export, copy. Let's make sure that we actually get it imported properly this time. Gaston, mini surfers. Okay. And this should still have mini server. All right, excellent. So let's play at least one more set with this deck, I think. And then we may bust out a little deck tech on a more budget version that is a combo deck. Because it feels pretty sweet, kind of where it's at. And it's possible that something like the Caterpillar, just like pushing more lore faster earlier is better, so that once you get to 7 to be playing Pabbie, you just like end the game. It doesn't feel like we're drawing through our decks so much so that we can't afford Mickey Mouse, though I don't know if Mickey Mouse Detective is even that good in a deck like this anymore. It's a great hand. Wow. This is a pretty great hand. What do we even ink? So this is the mirror again, so I guess it's Teeth and Ambitions. No, it is not the mirror. They are back to Olaf nonsense. So I think it's still Teeth and Ambitions, but I think we can get rid of the one Flaversham first. And then we can dump the Teeth and Ambitions later. Because we don't know if they're the aggro version or not. They could be pretty aggressive. No, this is the Cusco version. Okay, that's fine. So let's spin Minnie Mouse. Play a Gravitala. Being on the draw is unfortunate with this hand. This hand would have been very good on the play. And it's like okay on the draw. Interesting. It's a world where we have these Gaston shift lines, but I think it's still better to play Winnie the Pooh this turn. Because we could just cast these outright rather than having to shift them. We can get up to 5 next turn. I still think I'm probably looking to just Flaversham to draw some cards, but our opponent is on a pretty aggressive line. They play a rabbit. I mean, they're mostly just drawing cards. Like, everything that they've played so far just draws cards. Like, none of them are particularly aggressive as far as gaining ink. Like, the ones that we have gain ink a lot faster. Do we even need to draw cards? Do we just, like, play Gaston Mini this turn? And, like, throw this Flaversham in the bin? I weirdly don't hate that. Maybe we don't need the second Gaston. Like, maybe the Flaversham is just better than Gaston. Ah, fuck him. Get this man out of here. We're just all Gaston all the time. Like, if they decide to just quest and not interact with what we're doing over here, we can literally just push 8 next turn and go up to 12. Like, that's so insane. So they Mim Fox, so they're probably going to deal with the Winnie the Pooh. This is fine. We could Tala into the Mim. That's another option as well. We could drop B Prep. And we're set up for that the turn after. Just in case they go a little bit even wider. Could just Nick Wild, because we're going to gain 5 this turn, I think. Go to 11. Alright, we'll take the Nick Wild, I think. And then we're going to hit here, because I think this clears enough of their board that I'm happy with it. And then we can bash, bash, and then I guess get rid of the Gothel. Like, the alternative is that I get rid of Nick Wild and I play the Gothel this turn. Maybe I don't hate that, actually. I don't think I need to heal it now, actually. Now that I think about it. Being on the draw makes this very awkward. Because we would be, like, these numbers would just be straight flipped if we were on the play. So they could be prep next turn. I think I maybe hold off on the Gaston. Let's do this. Let's Pawpsicle here. I think I just bashed this and then play Nick Wild instead. Play the Pawpsicle, Siggo. Like, they don't really have an answer to Minnie Mouse unless they be prepared. But, I mean, they have the Cusco, so they draw extra cards. They'll be at 15. Which is not an awesome spot for us to be in. It's looking a little rough, this go. The Mini Surfer didn't feel terrible. But it also hasn't felt great. Because this would be the matchup for it, and it's felt a little weird. So we play Gaston. I'm going to take the Grammatala. The Gumbo Pot would be nice, but I want to play around Tremaine. So we'll do this, and then we'll play the Grammatala. Like, we kind of need to play around Tremaine. I'm regretting a little bit not using the Flaversham to draw extra cards. So they B-prep again. I'm not terribly surprised by that. We can hold on to the Teeth and Ambitions. We'll see what they play. If it's just like double Rabbit, that's really awkward for us. Rabbit Goat. I suppose we do have to B-prep here. We can't let them bounce the goat back unnecessarily. Play our Grammatala and say go. Looks like we're probably dead this turn, or this game. They have outdrawn and outcontrolled us here. Yeah, I think getting rid of the Flaversham this game has been pretty costly for us. Because we just are lacking card draw then. Okay, they got me. So it is interesting to note that especially if you're on the draw, like getting the extra card draw is much more important. Which is not really that surprising of a revelation, but I think we get rid of a B-prep. Because we've got, like, Pawpsicle, Gothel, Minnie Mouse, whether we do the Gaston or not. It's fine. I'm debating whether or not I care about this Gaston over the Gothel. I feel like they play a similar role in this matchup. Let's do this. That's a little better of a 2-drop to play. A little more aggressive of a 2-drop as well. We get rid of the teeth here. We play Grandma. They go. And then we get to go Minnie Mouse into Flaversham. Do this. Do we keep the Maui? Don't know when we're playing this Gothel. We might want the Maui, though, as a way of cleaning up something a little bit larger. Our opponent plays a Surfer of their own, so we can get crabbed, unfortunately. It's kind of awkward. But if we get crabbed, we get crabbed. I mean, they are worth some money. Like, eventually, set 1 will stop getting printed. Like, currently they're printing a lot of set 1, like, just to meet demand, but eventually that'll stop, and then it depends on what the next sets bring. Like, do people need Rapunzels and Ursulas and stuff again, or are those cards just not that important? It'll be worth, like, what the cards are worth. It just won't be worth an insane, like, it is not like a Magic collectible, if that's what your question is. I need to ink something. I don't know if we need 2 Gumbo Pots, necessarily. We don't need Winnie the Pooh. Especially with this hand. Play the Pawpsicle, so we'll quest with all these. Don't care if they kill Flaversham at this point, we've drawn enough cards. Like, if they don't have a crab, the mini Surfer is kind of going to go crazy, but they really don't have time to deal with Flaversham and play the crab, unless they are specifically doing, like, the snake with the crab. They could have done that this turn to crab them both. But then they still wouldn't have been able to kill Flaversham, so it's kind of rough. Spellbook, sure. Do we have any items that we want to draw cards with? I don't think so, right? Like, I want to keep these Gumbos in play, ideally. I think we'll do that. We'll go to 14. Play Gumbo, Mother Gothel, say go. Yeah, if you're looking for like a store of value within the Lorcana space, like the D100 sets are probably pretty good. This is Pixelborn. This is a fan-made client that is free to play. You can check it out there. It has a launcher that'll help you get it installed. So it looks like we should win this then, yeah. Because we can play Pabbie here. We just bash the snake and then double Gumbo. Oh, it's on iOS now too, yeah. So we saw the example there where we went first, and it mattered a ton because we were able to aggro out pretty easily there. This hand is somewhat disappointing. Let's send back the Lady Tremaine, the Nick Wild, and I assume that we're against the mirror again, so let's send back Winnie the Pooh. We are not. I mean, we're maybe still against the mirror. It's, like, not impossible in this spot, but this hand is fine. We'll get rid of that, we'll play a Minnie Mouse and say go. The Minnie Mouse is the card that I kind of like the least, but it gives us another thing to play on one. So there's steel popsicles of some sort. So we do this, I guess we get rid of Maui. We have no items. It's really awkward. I kind of don't think I can play Gothel here because we need it to be ink. In this case, like, we have enough ink to generally play a lot of our cards without a big hassle. So some of it is looking for, like, a curve in this particular deck. And just, like, knowing what the cards look like when we're playing them, I guess. Texture-wise, like, we want a reasonable 3-drop. Like, if we have too many 3s, like, we're not going to be able to play them all. Those kind of things. In this hand, like, an item would have been really nice. Which we didn't get, but such is life. We found a Gaston. That's interesting, actually. So it can allow us to shift this one. Next turn. We quest here. I believe that we just get rid of Gothel. We hold this just in case we find an item off the Gaston shift. It's possible that this also makes them hold back a little bit on their... oh, they're going to hit Gaston with that? That's so sad. I guess we've been blasted. Back to the Shadow Realm with us. Our opponent is bullying us with their drawing cards better than we are. Maybe they'll unironically wheel us at some point so we can get better cards. I'm surprised that they hit that. Like, why do you care? Weird choice, but fair. I mean, we're a bit behind because we don't have any Pawpsicles. But that's kind of inevitable with a deck like this. If you don't find the things that allow you to actually have an item engine, it is a little easy to struggle. The Flaversham engine with Pawpsicle is impossible if you don't have Pawpsicles, right? Guess we gotta get rid of the Gumbo pot, unfortunately. Would have liked that, but we have to be able to play our hand, so... it's a tough decision here. I think it just has to be Pawpsicle. Because then we have a line where we, like, play Pawpsicle and another Gaston, in theory. Our opponent is definitely drawing an awful lot of cards. Well, we get to draw a bit of cards ourselves, I suppose. So they are likely on wheel, otherwise they wouldn't have this Cogsworth in their deck. I'm debating on whether or not I just play this Gaston, or if we try to do the Flaversham to draw cards. And go to 11, play another Gaston. Like, it just puts more pressure to the board. Let's do the Pawpsicle first and see where that draws us. Teeth and Ambitions. I don't think that matters. Like, I weirdly feel like the play is just to still this quest and play Gastons. We don't need another Pabbie. I mean, we might just be dead next turn. Yeah, this is like a Pawpsicle aggro deck. I think we'll take Gothel and say go. If our opponent chooses to ignore our Gastons and just, like, try to wombo combo us, which they could do with the eye, like, we could just be dead here. It is very possible. They have so much ink that it wouldn't surprise me. They don't even need that many items. They need like 3 items and we're just dead. Especially if it's another Eye of Fates. That's a Nick Wild. That isn't it. We're like 1 ink away, actually, from just killing them. It's really unfortunate. Oh, they're gonna kill the Gastons? Okay, that makes sense. Or some of the Gastons, I guess. So put us to 14. Honestly, a B prep off the top, and we might have a chance of just going to 14 with Gaston, and then closing out in a couple of turns. So we can bop the Ariel, but then they still have 2, 3, 4, 5. It'll put us to 18. It's not good. 14, we have no damage. We can't play Mother Gothel plus the Pabbie here. That Gumbo Pot that we had to get rid of earlier is a little rough. Let's start with Flaversham. So we found double Gumbo Pot. So can we not die this turn? It feels so bad, but it is probably right. I mean, we're just dead if we don't do that attack, right? So I feel like that is a forced attack. We get rid of the Gaston. Do I play 2 Gumbo Pots? Yes, I think I play 2 Gumbo Pots. And I heal it twice. So now any inkable card gives us the out of play Gothel, play Pabbie, quest with Flaversham. Oh no, we need Flaversham to get damage. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to have enough. I think we're going to be a little short. It's going to be very close. Closer than I would like. We need 7. Again, we'll see if they clear the Gaston. If they don't, we'll get them. If they do, it'll be a little tricky. Like, if they're just doing a bunch of draw cardy stuff and building towards, like, almost lethal, maybe they don't play around the Pabbie combo because they can't afford to. They have an insanely high amount of ink, so they can do a lot of things. Tinkerbell is fine, actually. Oh, wait, we got them then because of the Tinkerbell. That's great. I think we got them because of the Tinkerbell. Because they can let us draw with the Flaversham, actually. Maybe. I'm trying to think, and it's difficult. So we need to heal... We need to heal 4 times, and we can do 1, 2, 3. So if we hit here, we can heal 4 times, but then we don't gain the quest out of this. Or we don't gain the ink out of it. So we might actually lose here because we don't have enough damage on our characters, but also we need the 1 lore from this. Like, we do this and we do this, right? And then we can Gumbo Pot here. That puts us to 15. If we attack and Gumbo Pot, that puts us to 19. If we quest, that'll put us to 16, 17, 18. So we're just like, don't have enough. Am I missing anything? Like, I don't think that there's a number that I can do to gain it. I don't see it out here. Ah, that's unfortunate. We're one away. They got me. Too bad. Okay, so what did we change with this version that was different? We added the Minnie Mouse. How was the Minnie Mouse? How did that feel? It was like okay, right? Back to the curve here. The issue with the Minnie Mouse is that it didn't really forward the game plan necessarily beyond just putting a bit of damage, right? Or a bit of lore. And if we ever fell behind, like, we were pretty dead. But maybe that's fine. Maybe we don't even worry about it. And we just run it back. We cut some of our items, which makes our deck a little awkward. Like if we don't have the Pawpsicle. Stylish Surfer, huh? How did it die? It got smashed. Just gonna run it back. I'm gonna run it back. I don't think we need to be reinventing the wheel just yet. We can get rid of these two. And the Gaston. Yeah, I like the Flabbershams a lot less without the extra items. It makes them really awkward as draw engines. And maybe it's fine to just like send them to the Inkwell, but we've added more aggressive cards and less cards that can draw, which is a little unfortunate. I mean, that's what we're doing with this, right? Is we're just tweaking stuff. We're what, 7 and 4? Something like that. We found a Pawpsicle. That's kind of neat. When are we playing this Pawpsicle ever that's favorable? We can play it on turn 4. In theory. We can play it on turn 4 when we play the, like, we need Winnie the Pooh having a think. We just, like, bin 2 things, and then we get to play the Flabbersham. Here's a snake. We can get rid of Teeth and Ambitions here. That's fine. So if we bash out, then it makes the opponent kill the Minnie Mouse, but I guess that's fine. I think that's probably fine. Especially makes the Winnie the Pooh having a think a little bit more protected, at least from the snake, because it trades. Alright, so we can ink this, that's fine. We play a Pawpsicle, draw a card. We quest with Winnie the Pooh, get rid of Minnie Mouse. And then we play the Flabbersham to draw. And then we quest here as well to go. Another item would be nice. Like, I don't care if they kill Winnie the Pooh. Winnie is nice because it is also a lore engine, but we can live without it. I suspect that they're debating on whether or not they bounce their Mim for like a fox so that it stays alive. That's interesting. They opt to kill the Tala. Sure. I wonder if we just slam a Grand Pabbie down. Next turn. We have nothing to heal, so it's just like a 3/6, 3-lore character. But like, the rest of our hand's kind of bad, so... maybe I'm just like fine doing this. They could have TMDS, so just blast Pabbie with that. So that's a possibility. Drawing Nick or Pawpsicle would be good here. I think they're looking for that if they chose not to use the Maleficent. I guess they both sing equally the same. And maybe this deck does need some Sisus. It's what, a 2/4? Like shields and Sisus. Just add a little bit more item package. It's kind of a little dirtily against some of these decks, though. But it does give us something that can give us more cards. Because right now, we seem to be kind of struggling on the card draw. We go back to the drawing board, we look at all of the things that give us draw cards. Hey RMB, how are you? I don't think that the answer is Dinner Bell, though it could be Dinner Bell with the Gothels. It just gives us a plan B. I'm doing alright. And maybe 1 or 2 Dinner Bells. Yeah, red is the only way to like guarantee damage, and it's the only one that has be prepared. Like, there are some games that we just have to be prepared to have a shot of playing the game. Unfortunately. Yeah, we're doing some Pabbie stuff today. Okay, I almost wonder if Dinner Bell is something that we consider. It's good with the Maui, it's like can do stuff with the Gothel. And it's a little bit more dense of a way of drawing stuff than what we've been working with. We can go to 10. You gotta get back to the grind. Yeah, we've been doing some stuff. I'm debating whether or not, like, we have one more turn that we can like dick around. What if we just like play a bunch of these, get rid of this other Flaversham and say go, and then we just like hope that we rip something sick off the top? Yeah, that'll do it. Like, our best draw in this spot is like Pawpsicle into Gumbo, and then we get to attack with the Flaversham, and we draw like another Gumbo, and then we just kill them. Yeah, it is entirely possible that Dinner Bell has a bit of equity in a deck like this, just the way that it's built. I don't know, we'll see. May have to go back to the drawing board a little bit as well. Like, if we don't draw an item here, we're in a terrible position. Okay, we drew a Pabbie. If they untap and B-prep us, we just die. So we just have to play around it. Looks like they have a B-prep if I'm seeing them just slam all their guys sideways. This deck needs more draw, something fierce. Yeah, okay. We have been sent to the Shadow Realm. Okay, so let's go back to our deck list here, because this one just is not feeling good right now. We've changed a few things, and I don't love where it's at again. So what did we recently change? We added the Stylish Surfers, and we took out some of the Nick Wilds. And we took out, what? Some of the other, like, cheap items. Okay, where's our dinner bell? I'm thinking 2 dinner bells, 1 less Stylish Surfer. How many uninkables is this now? 14. I think I can cut another Nick here. That'll put us at 60. Okay, let's re-import the deck. Try another couple games here. Send you back. We'll send back these. Okay, this hand's okay. Especially on the play. Do this with Pawpsicle. Say go. We're looking to like Grandmaster into Minnie Mouse. See what our opponent's doing here. The typical same thing that they're always doing, I suppose. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have time for this Gothel here. In this matchup, the mini Stylish Surfer is probably better than the Winnie the Pooh on 3. I mean, you can get 20 lore in a single turn. If you have 2 Pabbies out, you only need 5 triggers to just gain 20 lore. They both trigger separately, so can be quite strong that way. If they want to bash my Grandmaster here, I don't care with the snake. I will just Maui their thing. And I'm fine with that. If not, I'm probably in the market to like play the Winnie the Pooh or the Gumbo. We'll see. Luckily, we have the Stylish Surfer to give us some decent lore gain for a few turns. Ooh, I have found what we're gonna do with our turn. I figured it out. Ooh, we drew a dinner bell. That's neat. We can use the power of positive thinking to turn this Flaversham into more cards. Or one of these Mauis into cards. Or both. Gaston. We're out on the Gaston. Jam this Maui into the snake. Do we quest with Flaversham and open it up to their own Mauis? I think I don't. Mostly because we have the dinner bell that we can just, like, bash into the goat and draw 4 cards with it. Like, we've effectively gained enough lore to feel comfortable with the combo now. Because these are going to get us to 10 or whatever. Here's another goat. That's unfortunate. Yeah, Mini is great in this matchup. Maybe we don't... I think maybe because we drew this Pawpsicle, we do this, we ink something after we Fluttershy and get rid of the Pawpsicle here. That is big fucking awkward, bud. Maybe I don't care about the Maui. Like, my thought was to Maui the Merlin, but maybe our play is just to be prepared. And we play this, and then we intentionally just play the Dinner Bell instead. Hey, Range Stormer. How are you doing? Yeah, Mini is great in this matchup. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, admittedly, there's a world where we just, like... we just, like, get enough lore that the Pabbie just dumps them to. But I feel like we clean this up before they are able to quest anymore, and we just go to 14. Like, 14 is a good number. That's 3 heal triggers off the Pabbie. Like, that is very doable. Especially because it gets us up a little bit higher on the numbers over here, too. It's like if they just play a single thing, we can play Tremaine. Thank you, I appreciate the follow. Yeah, Mini Surfer, you're out of here. Get the Mini Surfer with this. Do we also play our own Mini, or do we want it to be... I think I'd rather it just be ink. And if they play Tremaine, they play Tremaine. It's fine. It's a world where, like, we are better off not doing it, and we just play the Mini to protect from Tremaine. I think it's probably correct a lot. We'll play Winnie the Pooh, say go. If they play another Tremaine, we'll just be prep. Yeah, I think it was probably a mistake not to have the Tremaine protected. Mostly just because it would have been a way to get 2 more lore kind of for free. That is so interesting. Do we just draw 3 cards? They'd go to 15. Oh my god, I think I do. We draw 3 cards. We have the Teeth and Ambitions to close. Okay, okay. If they don't have an answer to the Minnie Mouse, we've got them next turn. Ooh, they drained us. I still think we've got them next turn. I'll have to double check the numbers, but I think we're okay. Can always do the be prepared instead. So we'll go to 15. 6, 7, 18, 19. So that's not enough. So we're going to have to be prep. It's fine. because of the one lore drain, we're short because we just don't have the Pawpsicle. I'm debating... this Nick. If we play the Nick, we don't have the Teeth and Ambitions. But we get to draw a card this turn, or we get to get the Pawpsicle into our hand, which I think is probably better. It feels a little weird, but I do think it's better, because it puts more pressure on the board. And just doing nothing there isn't good enough. Fuck, they have a goat. That's not good. That's great. Do we have to Gaston this turn, or do we play the little one? I feel like I have to attack with Nick Wild here for sure. And I do think it's just play this. So we can always hit another one. So Gaston's big lethal. I don't think that we need this dinner bell anymore. Alright, we'll see if they've got a bounce or a wrath. Those are both necessary to beat us here. If they have just like a generic character, it's not good enough. It could still be both of those things. Surfer doesn't do it. Olaf doesn't do it. Nice. So that worked. I gotta be right back. Let me open up the deck list again, just so that I have it on screen. The dinner bell didn't feel terrible. I'm not used to playing it, so I have to like figure that out a little bit, but I'll be right back. We back. let's finish out this set here, I think. We'll try the dinner bells. I think we'll be okay here. Okay, we get rid of Tremaine here, I think. We have double Grammatala. I don't know if we need both, but it's usually pretty good when we have them, so maybe we keep them. You can always ink it too. Just back on their same list again, I assume. Get rid of Maui. The Pawpsicle thing, say go. Like, it is a bit draining to always play against Ruby Amethyst. But I don't know if there's really a solution to that in the current metagame, you know? This is the meta, yeah. Yeah, I just don't think we're gonna have time to play the second Tala. I mean, I just, like, I like the purple cards. Like, I think they're reasonable to play. But it just, the play draw is, it's, like, impossible to win on the draw with those decks a lot of the time. We might lose to this straight up, because we just can't go fast enough. Might be a game where we have to ramp up a little bit and do a B prep, because our opponent just went 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're just getting buried here. I don't really think that we're gonna have time for this dinner bell here. Let's Flowersham to draw some cards first. Then we'll quest here. Get rid of this dinner bell. There's a world where we Grammatala just to make sure that we have the 7 to be able to blow up the board next turn, but we don't even have the card yet, so it's a little rough. Yeah, we're just dead on board. Actual dead on board, right? Because they go to 17. I mean, that's the deck, right? We probably needed to do a little bit of interacting. It's possible that the roles have to shift when we're on the draw. And maybe I was supposed to play this Gothel just to be able to threaten what they're doing. We inked a Gothel on 2 instead of a Tala. We could have just played the Gothel and then healed it to just start eating these cards, which I think may have been stronger. Because then this, they got like 6 lore out of this Olaf and the Cusco combo here. I can do this. I mean, doing the wild stuff is fine, but the trouble is that any goat is just big lethal. Like, would they go to 17 here? But I suppose that's the answer, is we just have to try to draw into it. Don't need the Gaston. We can play a mini, I guess. We didn't find a B prep, so we have to rip one off the top, and then even then, it's going to be pretty rough. This card's kind of annoying. It plays very similarly to Grandmaster, it's just bigger, in that it just gives you a resource when it dies. This is functionally just Grandmaster. They opt to Yzma their Olaf, which is pretty good. Looks like we're dead. Because we have no way of drawing the B prep this turn, so we can't get rid of the Minnie Mouse. Okay, you got me. But also, again, being on the draw, we've been on the draw a lot against them today. Because we fought the same person like 6 times already, which is getting a little tedious, but and that's kind of the ladder right now. You just end up fighting against the same opponents over and over. Overall, I think the deck is pretty good. Yeah, Cruella could be the answer to that. The Cruella is pretty good. It's not very offensive, but it is a good card. And it does give us an answer to that, for sure. If the Surfer is seeing a lot of play, which it currently seems to be. Oh my god, I hate their deck builders so much. It's literally unusable. Their deck editor is just trash. And I know that he hasn't put any effort into it at all, intentionally, but it is pretty brutal. Yeah, it is possible that since we're losing to that so much, that maybe just going to the 4 Cruellas here, and then shaving down some of our other things might be the answer. Maybe we shave a Gaston, the 2-drop one. Do we need the Judy Hopps at all? Our 2-drop slot has so many fucking cards in it. Holy shit. Our 2-drop slot has 20 fucking 3 cards in it or something. We gotta shave some 2-drops if we're gonna add more 2-drops. I don't know what other 2-drops we can shave here that don't feel like shit. Like, maybe this Gaston package is just too cute to be real. And then it gives us a little bit of room to add other stuff back in. The shift has worked a few times, but I don't know if it's necessary. I think we can go in on some other draw instead. There was one game right after we added him that we got to shift 2 Gastons, and it was awesome, but it, I think, has been awkward more often than it has been not awkward, if that makes sense. Like, there have been a handful of games where it's been fine, but most of them it has just been really awkward. Okay, so how many uninkables is this down to? 11. What do we think about Ratigan? Because, like, Ratigan lets us still do something and also quest. Like, we get to quest with one of these, untap them both, and then still bash. I kind of like it, weirdly. Well, we have plenty of inkable. Like, most of our cards are inkable in this deck currently. What I like about the Ratigan is that we can still quest with our thing, and then untap it to bash, right? Because it isn't either or then. You can quest first and then do the untap part. And it readies any of your characters, which I think can be kind of interesting. And it could be the 3 is too much. I kind of want to put a little bit more in there just to test it. But you can always play it just to untap a character too. Like it's a budget, or it's an expensive LaFoe. But you can also use it to like bully something of your opponents, which I think is kind of interesting, I guess. Probably gonna have to break this video up into a couple. Otherwise it's gonna be a little long, perhaps. I hate that the win rate is so trash right now with this deck, but such is life. Poor Pawpsicles. They had their minute in the sun and then all of a sudden they fell off. It's just hard to beat the efficiency of having a burn deck with more draw in it than we have in this deck. That also gets to run Wrath of God. It's kind of wild. Which is the reason that I'd actually been playing the RP control recently as well, because it is very strong. Okay, so our hand is bad, so we need to mulligan a lot of this, I think. We just mulligan most of it, keep a Maui and a Gothel, since we're on the draw. His hand is fine. A little slow, but it does have some decent answers to stuff. Unless they're the discard deck, and then it just doesn't really have answers to anything. I mean, maybe we just be aggressive, and then it's fine. I don't know how many decks are running Jafar if they're not running the discard garbage, so I suppose that makes sense. On 3, we can play a 2-drop and a Pawpsicle, so we don't have to play one this turn. I'm debating whether or not I play the Cruella or the Gothel. I think I'd like to try and keep the Maui in both Flavershams. Maybe just get rid of Gothel and play Cruella here. I think this deck is exhausting. Because if it doesn't draw the Bucky, it's like, if it doesn't draw this, it's just unplayable. And there's just no interacting with it if it does. In any color except for steel. Which is like, kind of tedious. We can start with Pawpsicle, I guess, just in case it's a different 2-drop. Surfer would have been really good this turn, specifically. Just as a way to try and close out the game. It's going to be hard to outweigh their draw with Flavershams alone. Maybe we try, though. What is this? When you play a Floodborn character, deal 1 to each opposing chosen character. Or to each opposing character, I see. Guess that means that this Cruella can't really attack. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Maybe we don't worry about these minis. If we don't need 3 Gumbos, 2 is fine. Let's do this. If they make us discard, I think we're getting rid of a Judy. Sad Beast, of course. Deals 1 to everything, but we can Gumbo it back. I don't know if they're going to quest the Chief Bogo or not. If they do, we Maui them, I suppose. Dinner Bell. Like, I have nothing to interact with this beast in our hand currently, which is a bit unfortunate. But I doubt that they're going to attack with it, so maybe we just have to find something bigger to deal with it. Perhaps we just play out our dinner bell and say go. I hate it. I hate it. Like, this makes it so that they can't really attack, and the Chief BOGO ability doesn't do much either. We discard Winnie the Pooh here. Just don't think that does anything for us. They still opt to leave the dinner bell in play. Benja's miserable for us. Like, every card is miserable for us here. We just have to get enough ink to be able to blow up the board. I think that's our only out here. We found the ability to blow up the board. Could dinner bell this Cruella. Just draw a card out of it, because this is going to die to BOGO anyway. We need to ink something. Can ink Mini. Do I just say go? I think I just say go. Like, we have to blow up the board next turn. That's just not really much of a choice. But I want to make sure that if they, like, Lucifer, we have a couple of cards to discard to be able to still play the Be Prepared. Luckily, they haven't drawn that many cards. Cindy's fine. If they decide to attack Flavershem, like, it just doesn't matter. I don't think we care about Winnie the Pooh. I don't even know if they have a way of attacking Flavershem here, but if they kill it, it's whatever. We're not going to be able to get rid of this anyway. So they are going to quest. You could draw a ton of cards with the Flavershem, but I think we're better off just Be Prepareding, cleaning up the whole board, unfortunately, and then figuring out where we're at after that. Do I draw 2 off this Gumbo pot is the question. I kind of think that I do. And the only reason that I considered drawing the 2 off the Gumbo pot is because we're just like so far from the combo that I don't think that we can afford to really focus on it. We have to kind of control the board and get things under control because we're just so far from being under control right now. But luckily we can just do this for a couple of turns. I don't think we need Teeth and Ambitions. Okay, we play Winnie the Pooh here. And we play Minnie Mouse as well, I think. On the Gumbo pot and say go. Like, I don't care if they make us discard this Flavershem. That's fine. Ideally, they attack with the Tinkerbell or just tap it so that we can use this Minnie Mouse to draw 2 cards. I think that's kind of my position that we're in right now. So we do that, draw 2 cards, and then we can play Maui and just pop it. Get rid of Winnie the Pooh here and say go. Benja destroying our dinner bell is awkward. they ring the bell of our man here. That actually would have been very good if we still had the Maui in play. It would have been really playable, actually. It's really an awkward draw. Which order is it? One action. This other Ratigan will punch this Lucifer right in the face, which is kind of cute. They're just reading it. It's just a 3/3 quest 2. But if they attack with Benja, we're going to be able to... Oh my goodness. Okay, that's actually a good draw. So we can use this Ratigan just to kill both of these. So we can quest with this. We can Teeth and Ambition this one and just bash here and save the Ratigan for later. What does that gain us? Like nothing. I don't think that really gains us anything. Just do that, do that. Play the Minnie Mouse. Exclusive request for 2, that'll put us to 16. That's neat. Okay, so we'll play Pabbie. We'll Teeth and Ambitions here. And then just like game 4 as I go. I don't know if we have any healing left in our deck, so the Pabbie combo is just like not real. Cinderella, sure. The worst thing our opponent can have here is what? They could have Tinkerbell to like eat the Pabbie, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not enough. Oh no, the Mini would die, so that would be enough. So they just opt to quest, play Sad Beast, and then lose. Neat. They're going alright. I love gaming. We've been brewing up some gumbo today, and it has been interesting. We've won more with the Ruby Sapphire than we've lost, I think. I don't know what our actual record is, so I haven't been keeping too close track of it. I feel like it's maybe 8-6 or 9-6 or something. Haven't been keeping as track as I would like. It's gotta be 8-6. No, it's 9-6 now. Yeah, it does feel good to beat the discard. I think the Dinner Bell drawing 1 card there was pretty solid, actually. Let me get rid of this. This hand is bad. Do we have to get rid of the Dinner Bell? We do go first, and we have a Gothel, which is interesting. Maybe we get rid of the, just like this. Okay. Okay, I don't hate this. I'm getting a little sick of fighting this opponent, but that's more a problem of the matchmaking than anything else. Time of day, too, I suppose. It's just like the only opponent that we fight. Okay, we have a bunch of Gothels, which makes this Dinner Bell keep a little better. We can get in for one here and play one of the Gothels. Amber, Sapphire, Alice support. I feel like that would struggle to close against a lot of these stupid control decks. Like, they goat you out. Whereas they're just soft to Be Prepared, and Be Prepared is like one of the most played cards right now. Okay, so we can clear the board if we want. We can also just do Gumbo Pot. We can heal the Gothel. And just bash here. And then we can ink the Teeth and Ambitions. Like, we need to keep them from going too crazy, I think. I'm kind of okay with that. Because now we can follow up with Dinner Bell, and then we have the Gothel the turn after, hopefully, to... if it's fun, that's the only thing that's important. So they Surfer Mini, that's fine. Oh, god damn it. This game sometimes. Okay, goodbye, draw 3. We don't even have that many uninkables in here. It's like 14. 14 or 15. 14 currently. We already drew the uninkables in our hand too. It's brutal. Never didn't have it, I guess. Winnie the Pooh doesn't need to be having a think. We'll quest here, and then we can play the Cruella to mess with the mini Surfer, I think. We actually have these that we can start using as well. It's interesting. These will probably be good this game. Our curve is a little awkward because we can't, like, do two things. We could bin this Tala with the Dinner Bell this turn to get an extra ink. So let's play Cruella. We'll bash here. Maybe we'll just ink it straight up. And then say go. Like, this might die to Teeth and Ambitions this turn. Which, if it does, is a little unfortunate. I'm surprised that they decided to bash the Minnie Mouse. I guess because of the Dinner Bell. Oh, they have Tremaine. Okay, sure. Yeah, I suppose that's a bit of a beating. And now we're just in this same fucking spot where we don't have enough ink again to play all of our cards. Like, how are we ever getting rid of this Minnie Mouse with what we're doing here? I mean, I have to get rid of it. I'm debating whether or not I have to draw the cards right now. I think I do, which is really awkward. The Ratigans had potential, but the way that this draw has gone, I don't know if Cruella is even playable here. They have a lot of answers to Cruella that make it just not that good. we've had Cruella this whole time and have had zero way of actually having it do anything for us. Like, we've had 2 of them and not been able to get them in the point where they can actually fight the Minnie Mouse. And the fact that it dies to teeth is really shit against this, then. We've had no board presence. How... What did we change in the deck that made it so we have literally nothing on the board? Like, what has changed in this list that we now don't have things on the board at all? Because it has to be something. Because most of the games that we played today, we've been putting shit on the board and, like, having characters. And we're just, like, dead empty. Is it the dinner bell? It sacrificed, what, 1 card? Okay. Like, we're just dead on board. We can't participate in that game anymore. Like, I don't know what changed where we just don't have enough characters. This fucking thing. I hate this deck builder. Okay, so we go back to this. We have 42 characters in this deck. Like, the whole deck is characters. It still felt like we just didn't have enough going on. Like, is the dinner bell just not viable for the strategy? Because we're too busy just, like, eating our own cards for it to be good. Like, we need them. Is there anything else that draws cards in these colors? I don't think there is, right? At least not that we haven't tried. It's just the Gaston and the Flaversham, really. Sisu, I suppose. It's like Sisu is fucking not good. It's not good against the decks that we're getting. All we've done is fight Amethyst, right? And just, like, lose against it half... Maybe we're a coin flip against them or whatever. But if we're only a coin flip against them, like, the deck is not playable. You have to be more... When you're fighting them half the time, if you're coin flipping against them the other half of the time, then you're just meaning that you're losing 25% of your game straight up before you're even out of the gate, which is just not great. Just, like, not a good way of having a deck positioned. We could try Robin Hood, but then we're back into, like, needing to ramp more. Which I fucking hate. I think that seems really bad. We could play Big Grammatella. I don't know if that's necessarily something that I want to be doing, though. This Cruella felt really bad, though. Maybe I just shave another... one of the Radigans and up our Nick count again. How many 4s do we have? Where do we get the extra ones? Dinner Bell. Maybe we go back up on something inkable. Maybe the Surfers ourselves. Okay, we try a little bit more. just like don't want to keep fighting the same opponent. One of the only benefits that this deck has going for it is that it's surprising. Like, they don't know what I'm doing. If they already know what I'm doing, like, it's not really that helpful to be testing something weird. Because you're not going to get any surprise factor out of it. They're just going to attack the things that you're doing differently. Like, you're already metagamed against, and you've, you know, played the deck like 10 total games or whatever. Alright, so we go second. Couple of Gothels, a Pawpsicle, a Winnie the Pooh mini, B-Prep, and a Gumbo. Well, we get rid of the B-Prep for sure. Maybe the second Gothel. Okay. We could play it creature heavy. We'll see what they play. Whether we run out the Pawpsicle right away or we do something like the Minnie Mouse. Of course. An Olaf. Well, I guess the Minnie Mouse just literally doesn't matter here then. Since we do a second Pawpsicle, we can play the Gothel and like Pawpsicle it as well. We're going to ink something. Oh, they're playing at least a different color, so that's neat. We did draw a Flaversham, which is nice. We'll play out a Gothel, and I think I will still heal this. And then say go. We don't necessarily need to drop this right on 4, like we have other stuff. We could even play out the Winnie the Pooh and then still drop both of these on 4 together. This at least slows them down a bit. I think we get rid of the Teeth and Ambitions and then just play the Winnie the Pooh here. Say go. There's a world where I could have just attacked with this Gothel. If they have the Fox Mim, like, the Gothel at least trades with it, which isn't terrible. Are they going to double Storm Rages on my Winnie the Pooh? Or did they just do that to draw 1 card? They did that to draw 1 card. Let's see. That is a thing that you can do, I suppose. Let's play Pawpsicle. Let's ink Grammatala. Let's quest with Winnie the Pooh. Ink another Winnie the Pooh, I think. And then we can maybe just jam the Flaversham here. Go to the Pawpsicle here, draw 2 cards. We could bash the Maleficent. I think that's acceptable. Like, this overtaxes their things a little bit. Like, do they kill the Winnie the Pooh to keep the Olaf alive? Probably, but then we still have the Gothel. I don't actually care that much about the Winnie the Pooh. Beast, sure. We can't... Well, we could kill the Beast, actually. We could kill it pretty easily. We have to sing Teeth and Ambitions and then bash it with Mother Gothel. That's doable. We can actually do this too. It's kind of free. Okay, so if we do this, we're not going to use this to draw cards anyway, so we do this, kill the Olaf. We sing Teeth and Ambitions. Here, do 2 and 2. And then we play that again. Tap, untap. Just bash it. And then we bin the Minnie Mouse again, I think. Say go. So it gets rid of at least one beast, which is pretty nice. I'm not too worried about just a single spellbook. Like, it's not particularly fast. We'll see what they play for one. They're probably just looking at inking something. Hey, Zissa. Thanks for the follow. So we found a Cruella. We could use this to draw cards. In these colors, I think I just play out Grand Pabbie this turn. Like, I think I just bash, get rid of something, maybe Cruella. And then just play Pabbie and say go. They don't have a ton of answers to like a 3/6 like this. That was the best draw in our deck, actually. I don't think that I draw the cards here. We could just do this and say go. Like, this gained us 7 lore this turn. It would have been a lot less without the Gothel, for sure. But we do still have a decent engine outside of that going. So what is their best outcome here? They can remove quite a few things off the table. They have swords, they can kill Pabbie, Gothel. They can Benja the Gumbo Pot. I guess that's an option. It's already gained us 4 lore, so it's already done the same that their spellbook is doing. Yeah, makes sense. A pretty reasonable win there, I think. Especially knowing those colors. Like, red has a lot of answers, like hard answers to cards. But steel really doesn't. They could have sent it to Inkwell or something, since they're playing blue, of course. No, they weren't playing blue. They were playing steel purple. Yeah, they didn't really have much of an option there. Do we keep this dinner bell or not? I don't think we do. Like, we have the Flaversham and 2 Pawpsicles to draw instead. I mean, with the triple Mother Gothel draw, I suppose the dinner bells would have been pretty good, but we can still, in theory, find them later. So we're against the same opponent. So let's get rid of 1 Gothel. We don't really need that many. We'll play a Pawpsicle and draw. And say go. I may consider just running out the Grandmaster instead of the Gothel next turn. Though the Gothel does keep the Olaf under control, I'm not really looking to heal them right away. I'd rather draw the cards with these, so... I don't know if I want to keep both Flavershams, but it's possible that we need them both. With Grandmaster, they go. See what they play, if they decide to just bounce Olaf with Snake or whatever. They LaFoe, sure, that's fine. That's a good draw, actually. We don't need to run out this extra Pawpsicle right away. Maybe we do get rid of the second Flaversham now that we drew that. We do this, quest, say go. Because we just don't have enough items, I don't think, for the second one. Arthur LaFoe combo is a little scary. We can almost erase it though, so it's not like the end of the world. We do this, we do this. Winnie the Pooh doesn't need to be here. Play the Flaversham. We draw a card. Nick is a very good draw. Because next turn we can Nick, get back the Pawpsicle, play the Pawpsicle, and then we still add more pressure to the board. Interestingly, we were only like one lore behind if they have to keep replaying this LeFaux. Because this combo is good for like 4. Why didn't they bounce LeFaux? Do they maybe have another one in their hand? They might not have any other ink. I suppose that's possible. Oh, they had another one in their hand. Okay, sure. They wanted to ink that and then play. I see. Okay. We don't necessarily need to Nick first. We can Pawpsicle first and then see where we're at with the extra draw off the Flaversham. Okay, so Tala, Mini. We're very close to just like playing 2 Gumbo pots and then like Pabbieing instead. Is that better than this Nick? We'll go to 5s. It's 2 turns away, so we could do that next turn in theory. Let's play this and then Nick Wild. Yeah, we could do that next turn, like play a Gumbo pot or 2. Because we don't have any damage on our characters anyway. I don't think that we're at risk of getting killed before then. But this could also challenge what our opponent is doing a little bit. So they bounce the snake, so they can do the same thing where they like replay everything. Which is fine, because they're dead on board to what we're doing already. Even without the Pabbies. Because like this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Which is, that puts them to 16. That's just like not enough. Okay, so Winnie the Pooh is out. By the numbers, we can do like Gothel, Gumbo, Gumbo. And we don't draw any extra cards. Well, let's quest these. We quest with these basically every time anyway. We don't necessarily need that much healing. I'm just thinking for a second here. I think we always play a Pawpsicle. Because we need to Flaversham to draw. Because if we draw teeth, then it changes things a lot. I think we can get rid of the Minnie Mouse here. Neat. It's just in play now. I must have already inked. Oh, I'm just bad. Okay. Well, hopefully this is enough to get them. Because apparently I'm bad. So they have goat, so that's 1, 2, 3. We might be dead, I don't know. I can't do the math fast enough. I don't think that we are. Yeah, I apparently already inked, so a lot of the stuff that we did at the end there was kind of wasteful. But what we should have done is played Pawpsicle, Gumbo, and Gothel, so that at least we have 2 direct drains if they manage to like clear the board or whatever of most of our threats. But it worked out. Zephyr's at 1,000 already. Jeez, really crushing it. So we gained a bit more. Yeah, so we're queuing into them over and over because they're at the same spot where we're at basically, which is why we keep fighting them. Because I imagine that most of the top are not just jamming right now. So, but yeah, interesting. An interesting deck, I think overall. We probably should have made a separate pile just so that we had the ability to see the full deck, but we haven't reloaded the client at all, so it's 69.49. So let's reload the client real quick here and see what our total score was with the deck. So we're at 80.56. So that means that we are, what, 11 and 7? That's not bad, right? It's not amazing, but it's not bad. I interestingly think that the Ratigan is probably okay in this deck as an answer to some of that stuff, because it lets us like interact with some of their things. When we were playing the Ratigans, when they felt good, they actually felt really good. I do think that we maybe added a bit too much like nonsense. It's possible that we need more Nick Wilds again. Just because it's a 2/4, it's kind of good with the Dinner Bell. Obviously, it's insane with the Pawpsicles and the Flavershams. Like, our original version had more Nick Wilds in it, and they got cut for some of the lower to the ground stuff. But, like, overall, I mean, the deck it felt okay. We're still an underdog to red-purple lifetime on this pile. We never beat orange-purple, like, realistically. And most of the purple decks were a dog against, which is really awkward. And I don't know what to do about that. I'd have to look at the overall score today, just tallying it up to see how many of the games that we fought were red-purple. Because I don't know if we had a necessarily positive win rate against them. And if this deck doesn't have a positive win rate against Amethyst, like even with the fast version or whatever, it may just not be good enough in the metagame. But the aggro version definitely felt interesting at the very least. So I would say that some of the highlights of the deck here, we'll bring it back up again. So, a couple of points that are really nice to note. It's pretty cheap. Whether you opt to put more Tremaines in, which you can, or you, tweaking these numbers, like, really doesn't change much. Whether you add Surfers or more Ratigans, like Ratigans a quarter. More hops are a quarter, half that even, they're dimes. So the only ones that really change it a lot are like the Tremaines are $8 a piece, and then once you don't have the Maleficent Dragons, like the deck gets pretty cheap. So as far as like a budget thing, it is pretty reasonable, I would say, overall. It's not like perfect, but I think there's something here. I may keep working on it. I think 3 is a good number for Pabbie because you want to see them pretty often, and this deck just doesn't dig that deep anymore. So if you run less than 3, I think you probably won't see, because you really only need to see 1. But I've had a few games where we just like run one out and it's fine. The Gravitalis feels awesome in this deck, the way that it's built, because you really just want to get it down and have it quest some. The minis have been, I would say, maybe a necessary evil. It's possible that this mini could just go back to being shield, and that would be better for the deck. I may try a version like that. Because the shield gives you the ability to, say, quest with, your stylish surfers or your Winnie the Poohs, and then untap them and just keep them alive, which can be good enough against some decks. I think it's pretty sweet. I mean, I think we're going to need to do a little bit more working on it, but I think it has some room to play. I think a little bit more items wouldn't be terrible. The Minnie Mouse Always Classy is like, it's pretty okay, but a lot of times you want to just play a Pawpsicle turn 1 anyway. And this only really would be super favorable against the aggro deck. So maybe we have to hold on to this until we fight more of the, like, Lilo, Maleficent kind of stuff. Because if they're playing those, then the Minnie Mouse Always Classy does feel a lot better, of course, being that it's a 1 power thing. I do think that the Cruella is necessary. we were losing a little bit to the stylish server, so you kind of have to concede that you need to have something to interact with that. Stylish servers of ourselves, of our own, maybe not necessary. It is good against those matchups, but only really on the play. Like, this card is kind of awkward on the draw because we're just a bit too far behind. I think we're a little slow. But there's not really a ton of ways of improving that because the lore density of some of the lower cards is not super high. Obviously, we're only trying to get to like 12 or 14 before we can play the Pabbie and do that. But it's possible we need some other healing. Maybe something like Jasmine would be enough of a combo, that we can try and leverage just healing our whole squad the turn that we play the Grand Pabbie. But I just can't imagine that opponents are going to allow us to put a ton of damage on our characters randomly for that. I don't know. We haven't really been encountering Spellbook where it's mattered at all because we close so much faster than Spellbook does. Like, in the decks that are trying to take the game long, yeah, you probably need a lot more Judies specifically to try and delay the game a lot longer. But some of our games have only been lasting for 7-8 turns, and then the Judy hops just doesn't matter there. That's why we ended up going with the Winnie the Pooh having a think kind of in that same spot, because it gives us that same like 2/3 2-lore character, but also like it can ramp us a little bit if we want. It functions similarly in the same slot, and it's possible that it's just like go back down on mini servers and add the Judies back in. Like that the surfer just isn't that important, and then the Judy effect is. I could see even just cutting all the surfers and just going back to, 3 Judy hops and 4 Nick or something. Maybe 4 Judy hops and 3 Nick or whatever. I think that's also very reasonable. I'm just not sure. This is all trial. We're just brewing up some random shit. So. I think as far as cooking today, I think we made some pretty good gumbo. We gained, 30 points out of 18 games, which is not terrible with a weird brew. Given that we were running into so much of the Ruby Amethyst, which, we're just set to lose to that sometimes. The deck is very strong, and I've been playing it a lot, and I can recognize that as well. So... But yeah, I think that's going to be me for now. I will put this up on YouTube if you missed any of it. I'll probably break it up maybe into a couple vids just because it's a bit longer today. I think that Gumbo's got some legs, and I think I might keep working on it. I really do like the Pawpsicle control deck. I kind of started with this when the Set 2 came out. A version that was maybe a little bit more on the Tamatoa Crab endgame and less on this Pabbie combo, but I'm realizing that the way that this metagame is sort of shaped up is you need a way to close these games a lot faster, especially against something like Goat and against the flutes and things like that. You just don't have time to be not finishing what your opponent is doing. Like, you have to end the game, or they're going to. Even if you've controlled the full board, you got all the Tremaines and the Dragons and the Be Prepareds in the world, sometimes your opponent is just like, Goat, bounce the Goat, play a spellbook, activate the spellbook, sing 4 songs and just flute you to death. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the next direction of this deck is. I have been considering things like, maybe we go back to the Gaston package. Maybe we play more of the higher lore characters like Caterpillar, and just try to be bullies earlier until we get into Be Prepared, and maybe that's stronger. Maybe we play things like James, and we're just playing all Grammatalas all the time, and then we just don't care. We just attack, because functionally this is drawing a card when it dies, right? So there's a world where you just use these to get your ink on to get into the point of playing Pabbie. This having 2 damage on it and then being sacrificed to something like Dinner Bell doesn't feel terrible, because now you're also gaining an ink out of it. Like, you're getting additional value on top of that. which could be interesting. You know, I look at something like Nick Wilde, and in theory, it's a very powerful card. But if you already have Pawpsicle and you've already got it in the bin from something like the Flaversham, like the Nick Wilde is going to be just as strong as almost any other card that you play, because you're already so far ahead, because you found a Pawpsicle, you found your Flavershams. If you don't have Pawpsicle, like, this card is bad, and then also this card is bad, and then, like, you're not smooth because now you don't have the Pawpsicle to sort of filter in and allow you to heal and stuff like that. So if I have a card that's only good if we already drew one of the best cards in our deck, is that card actually good, or is it just in theory good? You know, I like Nick when he's awesome, but there's games when he's just like a 2/4 for 4. Is that good enough? Maybe, maybe not. I don't really know the answer to that. It makes me want something, you know, to maybe try something like James, to be the, you know, the additional copies of Grammatala, because Grammatala feels great. Like, this character and this character have the same text, basically. Right? Because this one is, when it's banished, you may put it in your inkwell face down and exerted. And Grammatala is when it's banished, you may put it in your face with the inkwell face down and exerted. So both of these technically have the exact same text. This is just a bigger copy of it. And maybe because the Grammatalas have been so good for us, maybe we do want to just play something like this. And we rely on this sort of an effect as our card advantage to get us to these later turns. I'm not sure. That probably needs a little bit more noodling to see if that makes sense. Because then we just don't have to ink as much of our other stuff. You know, we can play our cards and just quest with them and don't care if they live or die, and then just get to this later game. It also makes something like Radigan a little bit better, because you quest with this and then bash in, and then it just goes in your inkwell for the following turn. So I don't know. I will keep doing a little bit of work on this deck, I think. I do like the addition of the Dinner Bell. I think it gives us some additional draw value without being really heavy on resources. I do like the Maurice's Workshop version, but I think that the Maurice's Workshops are really mana heavy. Like, you need to invest a lot of cards and cost into these, a lot of ink. Whereas the Dinner Bell, like, it is heavier ink cost up front, but I also don't need to be playing 16 items or whatever to make it feel like it's good. Like, I don't need the second Dinner Bell. I can dump it away with Winnie the Pooh or whatever. I don't feel compelled to, like, play this on 3 so that then my Quill is better on 4 or whatever. I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting. There's also a world where Fidget is good over over Cruella. Because Fidget is better in the spots where, I guess Fidget is 3. Maybe Fidget's not as good. I was thinking Fidget was 2, but that wouldn't make any sense. I guess Cruella's nice because it's 2. Yeah. There's also a world where we go into the Cogsworth plan. So we have, like, the Felicias and the Gastons, like, that whole package. But then we also have the Cogsworth 2 along with the Shift Cogsworth. Because this one allows your Reckless characters to gain lore as well, which I think is kind of interesting. And it's a 2/3 for 2, which isn't bad. But then that depends on whether or not Cogsworth is worthwhile, more so than anything else. Because you're running, like, kind of a bad card to go with a card that maybe is not that good. I haven't fought against enough steel to know if we would really even want the Cogsworth 5s. But there's quite a few ways to build this, I think, which is interesting. Especially once you get down the rabbit hole of, like, let's play lower to the ground. Let's top out at, Grand Pabbie as we play this and we just win that turn. Yeah. So, let me see who else is on, if there is even anybody. Looks like nobody is currently streaming Lorcana, so I think what we'll do is just call it a day. I thank you for watching, and don't forget to follow if you haven't. And I will we'll see y'all next time.